After trudging through the tropic wasteland of Corpse Killer, I felt it necessary to take a little ride through the House of the Dead. Now that's a game. SEGA rocked my world with the Virtua Cop series a few years prior. The 3D graphics were razor sharp with bright textures, kick-ass music, and amazing Hollywood-style action. Being able to wound or kill my perps, or empty an entire magazine in them, was a feature I hadn't seen previously, adding a whole new level of fun and skill. The thought of replacing hoods with undead chainsaw-wielding, axe-throwing, drum-hurling zombies sounded like an absolute blast. I blew a lot of quarters on the arcade game, so when I heard it was coming to Saturn, I was beyond excited. The Saturn ports of Virtua Cop and Virtua Cop 2 may not have been arcade perfect, but they were faithful 32-bit representations of their coin-op counterparts. The House of the Dead even made use of the SEGA Stunner. This is what I call bringing the arcade experience home. This may shock some players, but House of the Dead has a story. AMS agent Tom Rogan receives a brief call from his bride-to-be, Sophie Richards, telling him that people are dying or whatever. A mad scientist with aspirations for global dominance and immortality has unleashed the products of his evil genius, allowing him to roam freely throughout his mansion. The place is teeming with zombies of all shapes and sizes, as well as genetically altered monkeys, swamp creatures, mutant frogs, maggots, vampire bats, gargoyles, and giant man-made monstrosities that inspire severe pants-shitting. Somehow, Rogan knows exactly where Sophie is, so he grabs his partner G, hops in the Radmobile, and races towards said mansion. Yes, the plot is supermodel thin, and the characters aren't exactly multi-dimensional, but it's leaps and bounds better than the Yui Bowl Creptacular. I'm sure we're all familiar with light gun games, but let us go over the basics. The whole game runs on rails where you have to blast the holy hell out of everything that spills blood and moans incessantly. Along the way, you'll encounter scientists being accosted by the rotting horde. While I'm inclined to let them perish, they'll repay you in kind for saving their meaningless lives with health, alternate paths, and a healthy boost in points. I gotta keep that trigger finger of mine in check. The alternate paths are a nice touch. It not only adds replay value, but it keeps me from slipping into autopilot, which I like. As with damn near every other game in this genre, whenever your burner runs dry, you shoot off screen to reload. 6 shots, that's all you get. That's one thing that kinda disappoints me. Unlike Virtua Cop, you can't upgrade the weaponry. This isn't a deal breaker, but it's irritating that dropping one of these mouth breathers can take an entire load. Killing a zombie here isn't anywhere near as effortless as seen in the movies. Sure, you turn their craniums into party favors, but that's not a guaranteed kill. There are times where you're completely overrun. It's insane. The bosses are a true test of patience because many of them move erratically and you can't bring them down unless you shoot a very, very specific spot. However, much of my frustration may have more to do with the controller. The cursor moves oh so slowly, and oddly enough, it isn't nearly as accurate as the stunner. You can adjust the cursor's speed, though it's not much help. With the stunner, this is fantastic. Seriously, this is the only way House of the Dead should be played. Hell, this is the only way any decent light gun game should be played. The music is odd at first. It's just so energetic and weird. I had no idea how over the top it was until I bought it, because arcades typically sound like this. Run! Yeah, my senses are often bombarded by pop, heavy metal, and hip-hop. I'm lucky if I hear sound effects half the time. I will say this, it grew on me. The score is very distinctive and it definitely keeps the action moving. The voice acting is classically bad, like Resident Evil. It's so horrendously cheesy that you can't help but love every ham-fisted line.
Sophie!
You must stop curing
Sophie! There's no way out, Kyrian.
I must admit, I really respect your consistency. But you will never, ever defeat me! Say hello to my masterpiece!
Unfortunately, this port isn't without its blemishes. The first thing fans of the original will notice is the blood. Why the fuck is it green? In the coin-op, it was as bloody and gruesome as a goddamn maxi pad. What the fuck happened? House of the Dead was released in 1997, which was a turbulent time for violent video games. Sadly, with overwhelming pressure from parents groups and politicians, Sega caved. Bollocks. Sega managed to flip him the bird by hiding a code within the game where you can change the color back to red, but it's woefully absent from the Japanese version. I've been told that if you beat the arcade portion, it will unlock a menu where you're given the option. After completing arcade on easy and normal, I'm of the opinion that this feature doesn't really exist. Unless there's an action replay plus code, there's no way to change the color. If this option is only accessible via beating Saturn mode or, God forbid, the hard setting, that is way more effort than I'm willing to put forth. Another issue I have are the graphics. With House of the Dead, textures are marred by great big blocky pixels of mediocrity and there's obvious signs of tearing. I feel as if I'm looking at an unfinished beta. It lacks the polish I had grown to expect from Sega at the time. Many claim that the port was rushed once Sega decided to retire the Saturn prematurely. That's a fucking tragedy, alright. In spite of it all, the mansion, as well as the surrounding grounds and underground laboratory, managed to retain that gritty gothic atmosphere I associate with the series. The zombies look decent, though some of the creatures are all over the place, like what the hell is this thing supposed to be? Or these things? If only the graphics weren't so muddy, I may be able to figure it out. Regardless, they're not so dreadful that I'm gonna chuck her out with the rubbish. Sure, the graphics have been neutered, but this is still House of the Dead. There's plenty of fun to be had and challenges to overcome. When it comes to arcade ports, this may not be the best example on Saturn, but it isn't the worst either. Dust this bitch off and take her for a spin. She's had a rough life.
Sophie.
Ah, fuck me, dick cocksucker.